Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another kind of look back type video, a nostalgia type video, and we're looking at something Marvel Realm of Champions. Remember Marvel Realm of Champions? You may do, you may not. So yeah, Marvel Realm of Champions was a game that I really enjoyed, but I felt that at a certain point the developers were taking it in the incorrect direction, and as well it was just too much reliant on people spending early on. It had some really decent potential, but then as soon as it was a case that the matchmaking was terrible, then it just was not helping out matters. And I think that where games like Marvel Snap and also very much kind of PvP that doesn't rely on who's basically got the bigger wallet, is kind of the way you got to go. And unfortunately, Marvel Realm of Champions kind of went the wrong direction with that one, and I think that's where they kind of like lost their way. And that happens, and I think that happens a lot with Kabam based games, Kabam in general, and a lot of what people are learning the lessons from now. Marvel Future Revolution had a big issue. I think that Niantic's Marvel Heroes, World of Heroes, will be a really good game, and we're going to be covering that on the channel at a later date. But if anybody remembers Marvel Realm of Champions, yeah, I definitely played a lot of it and started really enjoying it. But then there was a point in which things just started going just in the wrong direction. And rather than kind of I the full quit? I don't know if I did a full video saying a full quit, because I didn't think it's not my nature sometimes to do. I quit this because I just thought, well, no, just they can do their thing. I offered recommendations of how I felt that the developer should take the game. Obviously, they're not going to listen to me. And they didn't listen to anybody else. They didn't listen to the community. Because if they listened to the community, they may have had a game still continuing to go. But a lot of the time there may be some head honchos that think the game should be run in a certain way, developed in a certain way, going in a certain direction. It just didn't work. It really didn't. But there was some good stuff. There's some stuff that I really enjoyed, especially in the early stages of the game. People enjoyed it. It may have been for I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. I think their first December month was it worked well. And I think if they added in more characters or more champions to play with, which, adding in that Captain America very, very early on, if they added in Wolverine, they may have got themselves a bit more kind of longevity with that game. The same way that Marvel Future Revolution had to drop in Wolverine in order to kind of get people back into the game. And that's just the thing. More work could have and should have been done in order to save the game. But that's not what this video is all about. This video is all about Wolverine and what could have been with that one. So I think if you saw the Battle World cinematic, which was the Council of Shawarma, I think it was, which was back, let's see the date, 23rd of October 2020, we were certainly all very hyped for the following. You got to see some of the different characters that were coming into the game. One of those being some in the background, one of those in particular in the background was Wolverine, Shogun Wolverine, which was there. There was also a type of Deadpool, a pirate pool, and from what I gather from Gabriel Frazera, who we're going to talk about in a minute, this particular character, his particular house, was going to have different types of appendages, a different type of leg or arm of different characters, and it'd be really kind of cool, abstract, weird, and all that stuff. And in this one, there was also other characters. There was a Vision. There was a House of Vision. Did that actually come into game? I think I don't know if it did or didn't. I definitely know that one there with King Groot and a kind of a Guardians one came into game. I don't know if there was any others that were going to be. Maybe there was others that were kind of teased, but anyway, that was that. I kind of think that Vision was in. I can't remember honestly. I don't really care to fathom that. But what I wanted to do in this video is talk about the following. This was interesting. So very recently, Gabriel Frazera, if you don't know, was the creative director behind Marvel Realm of Champions, was talking about one of his favorite MROC houses, and it was Clan of Wolverine. So kind of Shogun Wolverine. That I said, I was really looking forward to playing this, but it's just a shame with the game. Any case, its history was inspired by Logan's struggle between his wild self, represented by the woods of northern Canada, and his desire for more civilized life, represented by Japan. Every concept symbolized that divide, which is cool. So whether or not there'd be playable items or not. So this is what Gabriel Frazaro pitched to, you know, and this would have been at some stage what was created. The player as a newborn Wolverine would start as a wild Weapon X subject, then become part of the clan's army. The base uniform was inspired by the original Cat Wolverine suit, then would evolve into the classic costume with the big ears, which would be really cool. And it kind of would get the player kind of like playing. And I kind of think this, if this was around from the very beginning, again, it may have tantalized and teased people to kind of like want to play a bit longer than it. There's some of the visual art right there, which looks really cool. So that's the base and a starter original suit, which that is so amazing. And especially if it was a case they developed that version, they got the look, like a really strong, solid look. And it looks like they've got the stature right, which, if you know, Wolverine is a small statured man and is a pretty cool small statured man. Anyway, Gabriel Frazaro goes on and says, from there, the player could mix and match with parts from the other warring tribes in the land, like the Sabretooth, Silver Samurai, Omega Red, and even go back to full feral Wolverine. The No-Nos with the bone claws. Again, moving on. The weapons would follow that idea. The clan of Wolverine would have mastery over adamantium infusion, were able to grow and shape metal strands from inside out all over their body, creating body art, but also lethal claws, tentacles, and spikes. And kind of like all of that is kind of looking like this. Again, this is like what we had with Omega Red and other kind of Lady Deathstrike. So where adamantium has been kind of used in a different manner. So you got a basic, you got a bone claw version, you got serrated, which actually looks pretty sick, and it kind of reminds you a bit of like more X23-ish, but you know, quite clearly, you know, it isn't actually. Funny enough, the X23 one's kind of reminiscent on that one, especially because it's like the underneath. Or is that? Oh, it's Daken actually, the underneath, because I know on the feet is the X23. Any case, moving on. Hooks, katana. Oh, katana's sick. Like, it would be so cool to have like a katana version of this, and especially with other kind of like you know, armory, and also the Deathstrike. Oh, so that's more like Lady Deathstrike, isn't it? Because it's Deathstrike, of course it is. That makes perfect sense. But it's certainly incredibly exciting to kind of have a look at the stuff. And, you know, even Gabe kind of confirms here about, you know, what was going to be the concept of Deadpool House. Pirates with different prosthetic leg and hand weapon attachments with some technovirus added to the mix. That's cool. And what was the idea for the symbiote class, if there was one? They were inspired by medieval knights with customizable symbiote armor and weapons. Okay, cool. And I think that's really it. Yeah, it's... And Ultron House, I don't know, like that kind of goes a bit silent on that particular subject. But I thought this was cool to take a trip down memory lane in this particular video, and it's nice to hear from like Gabe about like where the game. By the way, Gabe is working on his own independent project. And I can't. Nothing's been revealed just yet, but I'm really excited. He has said that he kind of like reach out to kind of let me kind of like have a look at what the game, as well as a few other people, what the game is that he's working on. Especially, and you go give Gabe a follow, especially for the game's developer that he's development company that he's made, which is What If Games. As I said, not quite sure what they're working on in particular, but you know, it's a case like projects wise. There's nothing kind of like revealed about it, and yeah, like it's good to see that you know, Gabe is still out there kind of doing stuff, and obviously has done a lot with Kabam over the years, so I think it's cool for him to be branching out and doing his own thing, and also like setting his own kind of standard of what he wants to see from whatever he's developing. So yeah, really exciting to see what he's got. And also, like, just thought I did a quick trip down memory lane as part of this like mini nostalgia series that I'm doing to kind of cover some old games that I've played in the past, new games, card games, and stuff like that. Especially because, you know, I do want to do stuff with this channel, but it's just finding the right passion project. And for me, it was a case that this Marvel World of Heroes by Niantic, the kind of Marvel Go, Pokemon Go type game, is going to be that particular game. I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm playing it. But yeah, that was it. Interesting trip down memory lane, and thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the game? Do you miss the game? Are you happy to see the back of it? I miss it, but I miss it for when it was a game that looked like it was going somewhere rather than it was going in a very weird direction. But yeah, that's been a video all done and dusted. Bye bye everybody.